Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. This morning we'll be in 1 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 1 through chapter 8, verse 40. The sons of Issachar, Tola, Pua, Jashub, and Shimron, 4 in all. The sons of Tola, Uzi, Rephaiah, Jeriel, Jamai, Gypsum, and Samuel. These were the leaders of their families. In the time of David, there were 22,600 warriors listed in Tola's genealogical records. The son of Uzi, Izrachiah, the sons of Izrahiah, Michael, Obadiah, Joel, and Ishiah. All 5 were leaders. According to the genealogical records of their families, they had 36,000 warriors available for battle, for they had numerous wives and sons. Altogether, the genealogical records of the clans of Issachar listed 87,000 warriors. The sons of Benjamin, Bela, Becher, and Jediel, 3 in all. The sons of Bela, Esbon, Uzi, Uziel, Jeremoth, and Eri. The 5 of them were leaders of their families. There were 22,034 warriors listed in their genealogical records. The sons of Becher, Zemara, Joash, Eleazar, Elioenai, Omri, Jeremoth, Abijah, Anatoth, and Alameth. All these were the sons of Becher. There were 20,200 family leaders and warriors listed in their genealogical records. The son of Jediel, Bilhan. The sons of Bilhan, Jeush, Benjamin, Ehud, Kenana, Zethan, Tarshish, and Abishashar. All these were the sons of Jediel. Listed in their genealogical records were 17,200 family leaders and warriors who were capable of marching out to battle. The Shupites and Hupites were descendants of the Hushites were descendants of Aher. The sons of Naphtali, Jaziel, Guni, Jezer, and Shalom, sons of Bilhah. The sons of Manasseh, Asriel, who was born to Manasseh's Aramean concubine. She also gave birth to Maker, the father of Gilead. Now Maker married a wife from the Hupites and Shivites. His sister's name was Maacah. Zelophehad was Manasseh's second son. He had only daughters. Maacah, Maker's wife, gave birth to a son, whom she named Peresh. His brother was Sheresh, and his sons were Ulam and Recham. The sons of Ulam, Bedan. These were the sons of Gilead, son of Maker, son of Manasseh. His sister, Hamaleketh, gave birth to Ishad, Abizer, and Mala. The sons of Shemitah were Ahian, Shechem, Likhi, and Aniam. The descendants of Ephraim, Shuthelah, his son Bered, his son Tahath, his son Eliadah, his son Tahath, his son Zabad, his son Shuthelah, Ezer, and Eliad, were killed by the men of Gath, who were natives of the land, when they went down to steal their cattle. Their father Ephraim mourned for them many days, and his brothers came to console him. He had sexual relations with his wife. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son. Ephraim named him Beriah because tragedy had come to his family. His daughter was Shira, who built Lower and Upper Beth-horon, as well as Uzan Shira. His son Repha, his son Resheph, his son Tela, his son Tahan, his son Ladan, his son Amihud, his son Elishama, his son Nun, and his son Joshua. Their property and settlements included Bethel and its surrounding towns, Naran to the east, Gezer and its surrounding towns to the west, and Shechem and its surrounding towns as far as Aya and its surrounding towns. On the border of Manasseh's territory were Beth Shean and its surrounding towns, Tanakh and its surrounding towns, Megiddo and its surrounding towns, and Dor and its surrounding towns. The descendants of Joseph, Israel's son, lived here. The sons of Asher, Imnah, Ishvi, and Beriah. Sarah was their sister. The sons of Beriah, Heber and Malkiel, who was the father of Birzaeth. Heber was the father of Japhlet, Shomer, Hotham, and Shua, their sister. The sons of Japhlet, Pasach, Bimhal, and Ashvath. These were Japhlet's sons. The sons of his brother Shemer, Roga, Huba, and Aram. The sons of his brother Helam, Zophah, Imnah, Shelesh, and Amal. The sons of Zophah, Sua, Harnefer, Shul, Beri, Imrah, Bezer, Hod, Shama, Shilshash, Ithran, and Bera, the sons of Jether, Jephthah, Pispa, and Ara, the sons of Ulah, Ara, Haniel, and Rizia. All these were the descendants of Asher. They were the leaders of their families, the most capable men who were warriors and served as head chiefs. There were 26,000 warriors listed in their genealogical records as capable of doing battle. Benjamin was the father of Bela, his firstborn. Ashbel was born second, Ahara third, Noah fourth, and Rapha fifth. Bela's sons were Adar, Gira, Abihud, Abishua, Naaman, Ahoa, Gira, Shephuphan, and Huram. These were the descendants of Ehud, who were leaders of the families living in Geba, who were forced to move to Manahath. Naaman, Ahijah, and Gira, who moved them. Gira was the father of Uzzah and Ahihud. Shaharaim fathered sons in Moab after he divorced his wives Husham and Bara. By his wife Hodesh he fathered Jobab, Zibiah, Misha, Malcolm, Jeuz, Sakia, and Mirma. These were his sons. They were family leaders. By Husham he fathered Abitub and Elpal. These sons of Elpal, Eber, Misham, Shemed, who built Ono and Lod, as well as its surrounding towns, Beriah and Shema. They were leaders of the families living in Aijalon and chased out the inhabitants of Gath. Ahio, Shishak, Jeremoth, Zebediah, Ared, Eder, Michael, Ishpa, and Joha were the sons of Beriah. Zebediah, Meshulam, Hizki, Heber, Ishmerai, Isliah, and Jobab were the sons of Elpal. Jachim, Zikri, and Zabdi, Elianai, Zilathai, Eliel, Adiah, Beriah, and Shimrath were the sons of Shimei. Ishpan, Eber, Eliel, Abdon, Zikri, Hanan, Hananiah, Elam, Anthothijah, Iphdaiah, and Penuel were the sons of Shashak. Shemashariah, Shechariah, Athaliah, Jerushiah, Elijah, and Zikri were the sons of Jeroham. These were the family leaders listed in the genealogical records. They lived in Jerusalem. The father of Gibeon lived in Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah. His firstborn son was Abdon, followed by Zur, Kish, Baal, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zikr, and Mikloth. Mikloth was the father of Shemaiah. They also lived near their relatives in Jerusalem. Ner was the father of Kish, and Kish was the father of Saul. Saul was the father of Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal, the son of Jonathan. Meribbaal was the father of Micah, the sons of Micah, Pithon, Melech, Tariah, and Ahaz. Ahaz was the father of Jehoiada, and Jehoiada was the father of Elameth, Asmaveth, and Zimri. Zimri was the father of Moza, and Moza was the father of Bineam. His son was Raphath, whose son was Elisah, whose son was Azel. Azel had 6 sons. Azrikam his firstborn, followed by Ishmael, Shariah, Obadiah, and Hanan. All these were the sons of Azel. The sons of his brother Ishak, Ulam was his firstborn, Jeush second, and Eliphalet third. These sons of Ulam were warriors who were adept archers. They had many sons and grandsons, a total of 150. All these were the descendants of Benjamin. Yeah. Don't have too much to say here other than in 7:27, you have listed the descendants of Ephraim, and you have in particular his son Nun and his son Joshua. So I didn't realize that Joshua was Ephraimite. This is the same Joshua, I think, that helps the Israelites, led the Israelites into the Promised Land. Also interesting that you have this story in the middle of with the descendants of the Ephraimites and Well, in 721, his son Shuthla, Ezer, and Eliad were killed by the men of Gath, who were natives of the land, when they went down to steal their cattle. And their father mourned their loss, and subsequently named his son Beriah, because tragedy had come to his family. Which I wonder, Beriah's probably tragedy. With a friend. Interesting. Yeah, just random story about this guy's son's trying to steal cows. Oh, also you have Ehud, the famous leader of Israel in Judges 3, as a son of Benjamin here. 7:6. Yeah. From First Chronicles 7:6, the sons of Benjamin, Bela, Becher, Jediel, and so forth. And then the sons of Jediel, Bilhan, the sons of Bilhan, Jeush, Benjamin, Ehud. So he was a Benjaminite. Well, carrying on. Acts chapter 27, verses 1 through 20. When it was decided we would sail to Italy, they handed over Paul and some other prisoners to a centurion of the Augustan cohort named Julius. We went on board a ship from Adramyttium that was about to sail to various ports along the coast of the province of Asia, and put out to sea, accompanied by Aristarchus, a Macedonian from Thessalonica. The next day we put in at Sidon, and Julius, treating Paul kindly, allowed him to go to his friends so they could provide him with what he needed. From there we put out to sea and sailed under the lee of Cyprus, because the winds were against us. After we had sailed across the open sea of Cilicia and Pamphylia, we put in at Myra in Lycia. There the centurion found a ship from Alexandria sailing for Italy, and he put us aboard it. We sailed slowly for many days, and arrived with difficulty off Cnidus. Because the wind prevented us from going any farther, we sailed under the lee of Crete, off Salmon. With difficulty we sailed along the coast of Crete, and came to a place called Fair Havens, that was near the town of Lycia. Since considerable time had passed, and the voyage was now dangerous, because the fast was already over, Paul advised the men, I can see the voyage is going to end in disaster and great loss, not only for the cargo and the ship, but also of our lives. But the centurion was more convinced by the captain and the ship's owner than by what Paul said. Because the harbor was not suitable to spend the winter in, the majority decided to put out to sea from there. They hoped that somehow they could reach Phoenix, a harbor of Crete facing southwest and northwest, and spend the winter there. When a gentle south wind sprang up, they thought they could carry out their purpose, so they weighed anchor and sailed close along the coast of Crete. Not long after this, a hurricane-force wind, called the northeaster, blew down from the island. When the ship was caught in it, and could not head into the wind, we gave way to it, and were driven along. As we ran under the lee of a small island called Cauda, we were able with difficulty to get the ship's boat under control. After the crew had hoisted it aboard, they used supports to undergird the ship. Fearing they would run aground on the Syrtis, they lowered the sea anchor, thus letting themselves be driven along. The next day, because we were violently battered by the storm, they began throwing the cargo overboard, and on the third day they threw the ship's gear overboard with their own hands. When neither sun nor stars appeared for many days, and a violent storm continued to batter us, we finally abandoned all hope of being saved. Scary stuff. So, Paul here is being sent to Rome for his trial in front of Caesar, and before they end up going, like, Paul gets some help from some of his friends who provide for his needs for the journey, which is nice. And then Luke details the trip here, and I wonder. It says in 27:9, since considerable time had passed, and the voyage was now dangerous because the fast was already over, Paul advised them, to stop going this way. But I wonder what the fast has to do with this. The date in question here was probably October 5th, which was the date of the Day of Atonement in AD 59. The idea is that as winter approached, the weather became more dangerous for sailing. The dangerous season for sailing began about September 14th and lasted until November 1st. After the later date, all navigation on the open sea came to an end until winter was over. From Bruce. And Paul said, "Men, I perceive this voyage will end with disaster." Paul did not necessarily speak here as a prophet of God, but perhaps as an experienced traveler on the Mediterranean, having already traveled some 3,500 miles by sea, knowing the seasons and conditions, and perhaps with supernatural wisdom, Paul advised that they should not go on. For 2 Corinthians 11:25 tells us that by this time, Paul had already shipwrecked 3 times. He, like most everyone, knew that sailing in this season was dangerous. Yeah. But the conditions of the port that they were in weren't suitable for wintering the craft, and so they were looking for an opportunity to head there. Which is kind of funny that the name of the place, of the port that they were in, was called Fair Havens. Wasn't entirely accurate, at least not accurate in the winter. The position of the bay made it vulnerable to winter winds and storms. It was not an ideal place to wait out the coming season. It was also not a fun place to spend all winter, and the crew of the ship didn't look forward to months in a small town. One commentator suggests that the local Chamber of Commerce named the place Fair Havens. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so they wanted to go to Phoenix. So they were looking for an opportunity, and here this south wind came in and blew softly, which was a favorable wind. So they set out for Phoenix, and then got a hurricane force wind. So yeah, and then were subsequently blown to and fro on the wind and waves, and were in a very difficult situation with essentially just being helpless in the wind to do anything, and they were throwing everything overboard, including the ship's own gear, such that even if the hurricane force winds died down, they would still be unable to steer, which is not great in a ship. So yeah, so perilous indeed. Carrying on, Psalm chapter 7, verses 1 through 17. O Lord my God, in you I have taken shelter. Deliver me from all who chase me. Rescue me. Otherwise they will rip me to shreds like a lion. They will tear me to bits, and no one will be able to rescue me. O Lord my God, if I have done what they say, or am guilty of unjust actions, or have wronged my ally, or helped his lawless enemy, May an enemy relentlessly chase me and catch me. May he trample me to death and leave me lying dishonored in the dust. Selah. Stand up angrily, Lord. Rise up with raging fury against my enemies. Wake up for my sake, and execute the judgment you have decreed for them. The countries are assembled all around them. Take once more your rightful place over them. The Lord judges the nations. Vindicate me, Lord, because I am innocent, because I am blameless. O exalted one, may the evil deeds of the wicked come to an end, but make the innocent secure, O righteous God, you who examine inner thoughts and motives. The exalted God is my shield, the one who delivers the morally upright. God is a just judge. He is angry throughout the day. If a person does not repent, God sharpens his sword and prepares to shoot his bow. He prepares to use deadly weapons against him. He gets ready to shoot flaming arrows. See the one who is pregnant with wickedness, who conceives destructive plans and gives birth to harmful lies. He digs a pit and then falls into the hole he has made. He becomes the victim of his own destructive plans, and the violence he intends for others falls on his own head. I will thank the Lord for his justice. I will sing praises to the sovereign Lord. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing to keep in mind, that not only is God loving, but he is also just. And each sin requires the due penalty of the law if it's not atoned for. And finally, Proverbs 18:22. The one who finds a wife finds what is enjoyable and receives a pleasurable gift from the Lord. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining me. Hope you have a great day.